And we are live, I believe. Once again, another week with my good friend Larry Johnson. Larry Johnson, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm older. I was announced that I had a birthday yesterday when I didn't because my birthday is a week ago, but okay.
Yeah, let's call Telegram guy and tell him he's wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, happy birthday nonetheless.
Yeah, feliz cumpleaños a mí.
Feliz cumpleaños. Yeah, so just before we start, we'd like to remember everybody that like to like, share, subscribe to the channels, put the bell so you get the notifications and all that stuff, and be a member on the channel if you want. Also follow Larry in all his outlets, but mainly on Sonar 21, where he publishes everything, including this conversation that we
Yes.
are going to have now. Larry, my good friend, there are too much to talk about, but the weak focus is Epstein. I would like to talk about Epstein. You know, a lot of things that came out from Epstein's documents. First of all, 3 million documents. Are they for real? I mean, is it possible to produce that amount of data?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's only half. More than half remains under government seal. So, what this exposes, just the volume of it, is a massive government cover-up. And, it's interesting that neither Obama nor Biden produced any of this. And in fact, Trump tried to do his part by killing Epstein, having him killed or allowing him to be killed, however you want to look at it, because it implicates. It's bipartisan. It implicates people on the Democrat side. It implicates people on the Republican side. It implicates prominent individuals who don't really identify with either party, but they are the money guys. They buy their way, buy their influence. And one prominent one of those is Robert Kraft, who was implicated in this. The billionaire.
Who is that guy?
Billionaire Robert Kraft. He is the owner of the New England Patriots, and he's I think he's a billionaire. If not, he's worth several hundred million anyway. This is a guy who got arrested at a massage parlor over on south of Jacksonville, Florida, 5 years ago. So he already had a taste for the hookers. So it's not surprising that he was implicated in previous testimony by victims of Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, so it's a massive cover-up. That's all it is.
From these documents that are coming out today, what I find very interesting, of course, I haven't read all of them. I kind of asked Grok what are the main subjects because it's 3 million pages. Whatever, it's just stupid at some point. 3 million pages. You're going to produce content for 10 years out of this. But what I find interesting is the time.
You say that again. What you find interesting is what? Hello. You froze up. Tick tock, tick tock. Marcelo.
Okay.
Yeah, you're
I'm back.
Yeah, you froze.
Internet here sucks. Have to state that. So what I find interesting is that timing. We are about to see a major development in Iran, and this comes out. My question here is, are they trying? And Ray, remember very well yesterday on the judge. you know, that Clinton had the Lewinsky scandal, and then he just bombed a lot of countries, you know, Iraq, Sudan, Afghanistan, out of that. Uh, do you think this is coming as a way to push Trump to do something about Iran, or do you
No,
think this is coming to hold him from doing something about Iran?
no, I think it's not even related. Because remember, this production of documents was the production was a result of a bill passed by the Congress, both Senate and House, that was initially brought by Marjorie Taylor Greene and some Republicans with Democrat support, but it did pass, requiring these documents to be released last December. And they've been dragging their feet all along. No, this, and in fact, this, based upon what, as my new analysis produced yesterday, the United States is not going to attack Iran, or if we do, we're going to get our ass kicked, because we've got the force that is now deployed, the naval force, the so-called armada. It's smaller than the naval force that was in the Red Sea to stop the Houthis, to reopen freedom of navigation and to stop the Houthis from getting support from Iran. We had a larger force last March, Operation Rough Rider, in the Red Sea than we do have now off the coast of Iran. And how did that work out against the Houthis? They capitulate, we leave, bye. We declared victory and left. We failed, completely failed to stop the Houthis. And now we're saying that we're going to go up against Iran with a naval force that's smaller. And here's Iran that has an air force. The Houthis didn't have an air force. They've got a massive drone force that they got drones that are comparable to the U.S. MQ-9 Reaper. In fact, there reports on the 30th, they were flying over the U.S. aircraft carrier, taking pictures, images, videos that were released. So they carry Tomahawk cruise missiles, except those Tomahawk cruise missiles only have a range of 1,000 miles. And the ships, because they're afraid of getting blown out of the water, are staying about 500 to 1,000 miles offshore. So where the hell are they going to fire the Tomahawk missiles? I mean, this is, when you step back and look at it just tactically, this is nonsense. Trump is just they're making a show of force for nothing. And it's really, if they had 3 carrier strike groups out there, okay, then I'd say, okay, now we're serious about trying to do some harm to Iran. But right now, all they can do is just irritate the hell out of Iran.
Yeah, well, you point this out, and I think it's amazing. Exactly that you had 3 carriers on the Houthis, and now you only have
2.
1.
You had 2.
You had 2.
They had 1, and then they brought another one in, so they overlapped there for a period. Plus, during that time with the Houthis, again, remember, the Houthis did not have an air force. They did not have access to satellite intelligence that's being provided by Russia and China. And with that, they managed to shoot down 1 MQ-9 Reaper drone a week, which was valued between $30 to $35 million a piece. So, they did over $220 million in damage that way. And 3 F-18A Hornets were, lost, fell into the ocean, shot with friendly fire, so again, that was against the Houthis, who did not have the offensive capability that Iran does. And these people on the media and in the Pentagon, and they keep jerking themselves off, saying, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go crush Iran." Good, go do it. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, we had the dude with the chick's name, just
Yeah, little
telling Trump
from
that
South
he's going to be
Carolina,
an next Nixon. Yeah,
Lin
yeah, yeah.
Lindsay.
Is he doing anything? Yeah, Lindsay Lohan. Is he doing anything in South Carolina? I mean, he could call the United States to invade South Carolina, perhaps. At least people there voted for him.
Yeah, he's um, you know, his the rumors about his private life, that he is a so-called closeted homosexual, appears to be gaining some traction. But he's not terribly popular in South Carolina, but he is a creature of the deep state, and the deep state tries to take care of its own. And if you step out of line, they'll crush you.
So the guy basically has to keep no mention to bugs on Epstein files. You know, the lady kind of bugs.
Yeah, no, again, this look, when you would consider the massive size of the Epstein files, why hasn't there been a prosecution? There is significant evidence of criminal activity, and yet the only ones that were going to be punished were Epstein and his madam Ghislaine Maxwell. And it's a protection racket. There's no accountability here. Like I said, this cuts across party lines, and everybody's covering for each other.
Yeah, one thing that called my attention on the documents were the mentions, well, just citations of Bolsonaro and Lula, you know, between conversations on conversations between Epstein and Steve Bannon, who's also Trump's market guy, right? Marketing guy,
Yeah.
Steve Bannon and Noam Chomsky.
I haven't seen that conversation between Bannon and Epstein. I haven't had a chance to watch it. Did you watch it?
Yeah, basically is Bannon, is Epstein, you know, kind of praising Bolsonaro, and Bannon telling him, well, he's my guy, and we're gonna put him to presidency. And at the same time, you have Epstein and Noam Chomsky, who was pretty much involved with Free Lula movement here in Brazil, telling, well, you know, this guy is the most important um, political prisoner on the world right now, you know, talking about Lula da Silva. And at the same time, you have conversations between Chomsky and Bannon. Basically, Bannon telling Chomsky, okay, tell your guy that this year I'm going to put my guy on presidency, you know, and well, Bolsonaro actually won. We know that. And later on, Lula was released. But there is no conversation between the actors, the Brazilian actors, Bolsonaro and Lula. At least no citations of them participating in any conversation, just negotiating between Bannon and Chomsky. And the interesting part to me is that this kind of makes pretty clear that both, you know, ranges of Brazilian politics are somehow involved or controlled by the, you know, U.S. deep state or Mossad or MI6, whatever. The guys between Epstein and these other guys, Bannon and Bannon. I know recently he had a meeting with Bolsonaro's son, Eduardo Bolsonaro. This video kind of floated around, you know, where he was basically calling Eduardo Bolsonaro the next Brazilian president, and then, you know, Zig Heiling to the AFD, the German AFD.
Yeah. Well, this again, the clear message out of the Epstein files is within the elite, as long as you play ball, there is no accountability. You can do whatever the fuck you want. And, you know, it is on a personal level from the Epstein files is that these elites, they can have sex with underage girls. They can have sex with children. There are reports of ritual satanic abuse involving even killing of some children. So you can, there is no higher, you don't answer to anybody. You are God. You get to make the choice. And as long as you don't get caught, you get away with it. So that's on this individual level. Then so lo and behold, when those same people are in positions of authority over armies and economies, again, they don't answer to any higher power. They don't have to worry about burning in hell because they don't believe in hell. I can do whatever I want. I can invade Venezuela. I can capture its president. I can grab these people, accuse them of being terrorists and put them in Guantanamo, and I can torture them. I can, can do anything. I have no limits. That's the other side of this Epstein thing, because it really speaks to a system that is not based upon any morality. It is completely immoral and transactional.
Yes, perfect. Just recently, I saw a very interesting analysis from a Chinese guy. I think the channel is called Predictive History. He's getting traction on the internet, and he was mostly talking about this. The channel name is Predictive History. I'll send you the channel later. I don't remember. This guy is getting a lot of traction in the internet. And basically, he was talking about this satanic movements and secret societies and stuff like that. And well, we've been discussing this since day one that we met, Larry, and we can pretty much now see that we were not conspiracy theorists.
Well, yeah, and the fact, look, there are secret societies. You do have, like the Masonic order, the Masons. There are secret handshakes and ways that they identify each other that the average person will not be aware of. Skull and Bones was a society at Yale that, you got some of the initiation rituals that are not talked about in public are, you could classify them as rooted in evil, not in good. So there is a real element of spiritual element that you could say is rooted in Satanism. And it looks like you froze again. Hello. I disappeared. Coming back. All right, you're back.
That sucks here. Yeah. Do you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Yeah.
So you didn't hear me.
But anyway,
it's rooted.
I just freeze. Everything freezes here, and I see nothing. You're talking about secret societies, yes?
Yeah, no, they exist. They're real, and they're not. They're more international than national, and they're So the notion. We're always told about the, they use the term conspiracy to imply that when you suggest that there are people working together secretly with secret objectives and agendas, that it's a lie. Conspiracy is designed to imply a lie, when in fact, conspiracy simply means you got two or more people who are not who are working together to try to manipulate or achieve an outcome, and without it necessarily being public or attributable to one or more individuals. So there are active conspiracies, like with the killing of JFK. In the case of JFK, You had elements of the CIA connected to James Jesus Angleton. You had organized crime connected with Meyer Lansky, a Jewish criminal who was also tied into the Italian mob. And you had the Israeli government through Mossad. And the basic reason they killed Kennedy is his efforts to expose Israel's work on a nuclear atomic bomb back then. And, that you can't, if you want to say, quote, that's a conspiracy to imply it's a lie. No, it's not. It means that there was an actual conspiracy. There were at least 3 parties involved in carrying out a criminal act to change the course of American history. And it didn't just stop there. There is now good evidence that even the Zapruder film was altered to make it look like the explosion came from the front of what you see on the video is the explosion comes out of the front of his head. But what eyewitnesses saw is they said the back of his head was blown open. So,
Interesting you mentioned that, because I remember when I was young that I saw the first time this video, and then the narrator, someone from the TV that was narrating what was going on, was talking about his wife going to the back of Jackie Kennedy, going to the back of the car to get his brains.
Or grab a piece of his skull. Yeah.
Exactly. So if the force goes forward and the explosion goes forward, there shouldn't be skull on the back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, yeah, never thought about it.
But again, there's been, it's been covered up. That it is a lot. There were some powerful people implicated in that. And, one of the reasons a lot stayed away from it is they were afraid that they could be killed. So yeah. I don't know if the assassination attempts on Trump were designed to send him a message or were actually designed to kill him. But regardless of what the message was, he certainly performed as I think he was expected to, which was to be an Israel first guy.
Yeah, a message. Stay online. We can do it.
And tried to
do it 3 times.
Tried to cover up the whole Epstein affair, and then you got these disgraces like Dan Bongino, who before he was hollering all about it. Oh, they got exposed, and then once he gets the secret handshake on the inside, he's told basically back the fuck off, and he did.
Yeah, I also remembered yesterday the FBI guy. What was the name? The Kash Patel.
Oh, yeah.
Kash Patel.
Another despicable.
You remember we discussed this here. That he said that he watched all the videos, all the video evidence, perhaps with a little bit of lubricant in his hands.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And he saw nothing, and nothing weird.
Nothing to see here. But even now they're putting out some videos that show naked young girls. They're blurring the faces. This and they want to make this whole massive empire. They're just this lone guy. What we found out, one of the documents with respect to the murder of President Kennedy involved exposing the fact that Lee Harvey Oswald was a CIA asset, and that he came to the attention of the Central Intelligence Agency while he was working at a military base in Japan where the U-2 spy plane operated, and the U-2 spy plane at the time was under the control of the CIA. And so he was co-located with CIA, and this program that James Jesus Angleton developed was he tried to take single guys, young, military, who were intelligent, and basically create a story for them about how they got booted out of the military, how they left, whatever, and then send them to Russia in hopes that they could infiltrate the intelligence organizations. That's exactly what Oswald was. That's how he defected to Russia. And then he comes back from Russia to counter defects. And then he goes to, he was still being used as an intelligence asset. And little did he know that he was being set up to be the patsy. They were going to explain the murder of John F. Kennedy as being attributable to the Soviets.
Exactly. And that was also very fun when we watched during Biden's presidency, when the first leaks, when the first documents were declassified, that they were declassified in a way that were exactly pinpointing Lee Oswald as a Russian asset, while the new documents pinpoint them as a CIA asset.
Yeah.
Well, we can't believe our eyes. What you call, yeah.
No, I said just when I went for my week of explosive training at CIA, so we were trained to just given a familiarity with how bombs are made and what happens and the consequences. It was carried out at a secret site, a site actually that was the headquarters for the operation that James Jesus Angleton ran with Lee Harvey Oswald. I only learned that years later. But at that location, even though it's a top secret location, it's identified, its cover is under as a U.S. military base. They literally sold like coffee mugs and T-shirts and belt buckles that said, "Admit nothing, deny everything, make counter accusations." I mean, think about how weird that is. They're actually at a top secret location selling this shit, but that's how they do it. Don't admit that you did something. In fact, deny it, and then make the counter accusation that it's the Russians. And I just froze on my end. Can you hear me though? Okay, there.
Yeah. I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, the image froze, but sorry, my phone was going off. So that's what what we're looking at here is a complete lack of accountability.
Didn't they had T-shirts saying "I've been to a secret base and all I bought was this lame T-shirt"?
They should have. They should have.
But Larry, let's talk about Ukraine a little bit. Before Ukraine, I would like to go back to Iran. There is this meeting with Arakshi appointed in Istanbul, right?
Yeah,
between him
Witkoff and Kushner.
Witkoff.
Yeah.
Do you think that this could be a new setup for assassinating the negotiator, as Israel recently did with Palestine?
No.
Sorry, not Palestine. The Hamas, with Hamas and Hezbollah.
No, this is the old banana in the tailpipe routine. Okay, do you know what that refers to?
No.
So okay, when the first Beverly Hills Cop with Eddie Murphy, so he's standing in this hotel and the cops are surveilling him, and so he goes out and he sticks a banana in the tailpipe, which it's got homosexual overtones. The old banana, by sticking in the tailpipe, the car couldn't run, so it blocked off. And at one point, one of the cops says to him later, "We're not going to fall for that banana in the tailpipe routine again." Okay, so Iran's already been suckered by negotiations. I think these will be legitimate negotiations. And Witkoff and Kushner, what they're going to hear from Arakshi is something very simple. If you want a serious deal to guarantee that we will not build nuclear weapons, we're willing to agree to a system of inspection and guarantees that, but it's going to involve Russia and China, and as well as yourselves. It's not just going to be you, and it's not just going to be the International Atomic Energy Agency. But he's not going to say how much, but he's saying we'll agree to discuss, refining how much enrichment of uranium we'll do, because we do need some for medical research, but we'll be willing to make concessions on that. Other than that, we're going to keep our missiles. We're going to continue to support our Shia brothers and sisters in Lebanon, in Syria, in Iraq. But, if you want to walk away and say Iran does not have a nuclear weapon and will not pose a nuclear threat to Israel, you can have that. So then it'll be a point to say, is Trump willing to accept that deal? I think, I'll say if he's smart. I mean, Trump has been doing some incredibly stupid stuff, and it's with his advisors around him. The Republicans are going to lose the midterms if they don't turn this around. So one way to turn it around is, hey, we negotiated a peace agreement with Iran, and Iran doesn't have nukes. Trump could take the victory lap on that. The irony is, if he hadn't withdrawn from the JCPOA, he would have actually had more power over Iran today than he does, because under the JCPOA, you had Iran and China signed on to that. I mean, Iran, Russia, and China, and they were willing to enforce sanctions. They're no longer willing to enforce the sanctions. U.S. walked away from JCPOA. Europe never applied the sanction relief that they had obtained. And so Russia and China said, screw you then. We're not going to be part of this anymore. And you still, under that, we would have had inspections and assurances that that Iran was not building a nuclear weapon. But so Trump can get now, if he really wants an assurance that Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon, he can get that. But the things that Israel wants, get rid of Iran's missile force, get rid of Iran's support for the Houthis as well as Hezbollah and Hamas, not going to happen. And how much uranium they're going to do, they're willing to negotiate on that. So we'll see. It is that's why I not only, I was thinking, because I had not sat down and really looked at the military. I made some assumptions about the naval force. I thought it was much bigger than what had gone after the Houthis. And then yesterday when I realized, oh my God, it's actually a weaker force with less capability to protect against a swarm drone attack, which is they're more likely to face a swarm drone attack than they were in the Red Sea, for God's sake. So, that's the United States is not in a position to do any kind of significant military damage to Iran.
Could the United States be using this smaller force as a bait to get attacked and then justify, flags on the street, people, chanting on the streets of the United States, invade Iran, just like they did in the past?
No. I mean, look, Iran's made it clear. If they're attacked, they're not going to attack unless they're attacked. And when they respond, they're going to wipe out every U.S. military base in the Persian Gulf. And they've got the ability to do it, and we don't have the ability to stop them.
Yeah, that's worrisome. But since you mentioned the JCPOA, Larry, 2 days from now, the nuclear treaty between United States and Russia expires.
Yeah, START.
Are there any? Yeah, the START treaty expires. Are there any talks about that at all, or are we just going to go back to nuclear arms race as old times?
We're headed back to a nuclear arms race. I think there's no sign. Putin's made the offer, and Trump so far has not responded. It's that simple. And so and there's again foolishness on the part of the United States. We think we're ahead of Russia in so many areas, and we're not. We're behind, generations behind.
Yeah, that's and also how big right now is the U.S. Naval force, which is the the eyes of the United States military force. How big is it compared to other countries like China and Russia, for example?
Well, okay, what do you mean when you're talking big? How many aircraft carriers? Uh,
Aircraft carriers,
so
power,
um,
nuclear capabilities.
so the United States has more aircraft carriers than any other country, uh, but they're increasingly they're really not relevant as a great offensive weapon in light of the development of hypersonic missiles and drones. They can be easily attacked and tough to defend. Um, Submarines, uh, United States and Russia, I think, are about equal. Um, I know the United States has it may have more submarines, 67 is the last number I saw, but it's not clear that all of those, a significant portion of those, are actually in port and not able to sail. Uh, Russia, by contrast, has developed some very advanced. They basically got a drone submarine that's out there. It doesn't have to surface, doesn't have to, buy more. It's run on nuclear fuel, so it doesn't need to be refueled. You don't have a bunch of sailors on board that have to be fed, and you know, Russia has an advantage on that front. Uh, the days of the United States having dominance, uh, the Chinese, in terms of just conventional ships and destroyers and stuff, are outpacing the United States. I'll have a bigger naval fleet. And so what's interesting is Russia, China, and Iran will be conducting a naval exercise about the first week in March. They've been doing it now for the last 8 years.
Yeah, the world is getting bigger, and the United States getting isolated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we're almost about an hour now, but I would like to ask you a question that you mentioned on the judge yesterday, which is very interesting. The markets, the economic markets, the silver market, gold market, all this is getting very, very weird. You
Yeah.
mentioned the difference between silver price. This is very interesting. You should have something quite stable around the world.
Well, particularly, just looking at gold. So gold is now back up almost $5,000 after the so-called collapse. The traditional economic theory was that if you have free trade, that everybody you'll agree on a price that is a consistent price for, say, gold. That if you got price differences, that might be attributable to location or difficulty of moving it from point A to point B, or et cetera. But we're in a digital age where you don't have to wait a week or a month for information to come to you. Like during in the 1776, waiting to find out what the reaction of the King of England to the American Declaration of Independence. You had to wait 2 or 3 months. The ship had to sail over with it, and then they had to sail back. Now you get instant information. So under this digital age, you should not have a price of silver in Shanghai that is at, let's say, $110 an ounce, and a price for silver in the United States that's at $85 an ounce, because that is called an arbitrage gap. That means if you can buy the silver in the United States and then take it to China and sell it, you're going to make $30 an ounce. So do the math. If you got 1 ounce, it's 30. If you've got 10 ounces, it's 300. If you've got 1,000 ounces, it's 3,000. You know, so the numbers they go up dramatically, and you make a killing. That's not happening right now. I mean, we're seeing these. The market is not working as a global integrated market. It's working as a fragmented market, and it's not just with gold and silver. It's with copper. It's with oil. And so what we're witnessing is the breakup of the economic system, the financial system that rested upon the foundation of the US dollar as the global reserve currency. What we're witnessing now is the rise of alternative financial systems, principally with BRICS. And that the US is desperate to try to hang on to that economic power, but it's not able to. But, look at what happened. I wrote about this a couple of days ago. The United States imposed tariffs on China. Remember a year ago, February, Donald Trump was saying the countries of the world were lining up to kiss his ass to negotiate the deals with the United States. And China's done no
Is
such
there a
thing.
picture of that line?
Huh?
Is there a picture of the line? Because you never saw it.
I don't understand. What do you mean, the picture of the line?
You have a picture of that line of countries,
Oh yeah,
moving
no.
to kiss his ass.
Yeah, we don't see it.
Nobody saw it.
And what China has done is it's diversified. It's reduced its trade with the United States. It's increased its trade with other countries, and just said, okay, we don't need you. It's like let's say days before you're married, you had a girlfriend, and you say, okay, you made certain demands on her, and she just say, I'll start seeing some other guys. Wait, I thought we had this special relationship. Nah, you're too much of a drama queen. God Almighty. So China's walking away, and they're not just, they're taking steps. They're getting rid of U.S. treasuries. They're not buying dollars anymore, or if whatever dollars they have, they're finding a way to lend those dollars, but as an economic play for China. They are buying gold and silver. They already control 70% of the silver market anyway, but they're looking to hold hard currency. So what we're witnessing is it will be the collapse of the U.S. dominated financial system. That's coming.
Oops. Yeah, exactly. That's extremely interesting to see that the what we grew up taking account as being always there. This global market. All this centralized stuff. It's actually getting perceivable, getting to its end.
Mm-hmm.
That's extremely interesting and scary. It's scary because we don't know what comes next.
Yeah, it's viewed from the standpoint of the United States, it's negative. Viewed from the standpoint of the world, there's actually some optimism there that they're breaking free of the colonial empire. You've seen that in Niger. They kicked the French out. The French are still trying to mount. They just actually tried another attack yesterday, and the Russian forces there beat it back, killed these insurgents. But we see that the economic fortunes of these African countries are starting to turn around because they're not being raped and robbed by the European masters. They're now able to control their own destiny, and working with China's Belt and Road. China's not coming in to say, we're going to take you, we're going to control you, we're going to, China is allowing these countries to build up and prosper. without require them to have to be impoverished in order to make China rich. It's a different I don't know. You want to call that a communist mentality? Okay. If that's a communist mentality, people are going to want more of it, not less.
Yeah, exactly. One fun thing is that I was reading some literature, some economy literature about the development of China and the development of the United States. They are basically the same.
Yeah.
Small banks investing in small business that become big business, and small industries, and develop the country. No communism, no capitalism. Just plain business.
Yeah.
Intelligent business.
The golden rule. Those with the gold get to make the rules.
Make the rules, exactly. Or those with sex tapes from personalities.
Yeah. You can control the art of influencing others.
Exactly. Larry Johnson, my good friend, thank you very much once again for this amazing conversation. Happy late birthday.
Yeah.
My mistake, but
it's not your mistake. It was false information was put out, but hey,
yeah, fake news. Fake news.
I am a year older, so
you're 1 year more experienced.
Oh yes,
and 1 year as well. Always happy to have these amazing conversations.
That counts for something. All right, I'll send me the link and I'll publish it at Sonar 21. Okay.
Don't forget, everybody, to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and follow Larry on sonar21.com with his amazing work being published there almost every day. Basically every day.
I'm amazing.
You're amazing, man. Thank you very much. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Take care. Ciao.